Mula, I'm DJ Toro. Join me every Monday to Thursday, 7 until midnight. The premium classics on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
On the news tonight, police investigate possible murder-suicide in Botswana. FNPF announces interest payout for members. And adopting Fiji Hindi, should we or shouldn't we? Good evening, I'm Jackie Spade and you're watching FBC News. Police are investigating a homicide at Kaunitoni Street in Botswana, Suva. They've sealed off a house where 2 bodies were discovered this morning as forensics officers gather evidence. In a statement this afternoon, police said the bodies of a couple were found in their bedroom in what is believed to be a case of murder-suicide. The report has sent shockwaves through the neighborhood as residents gathered near the house. Fiji Television Limited has been granted a 6-month extension to its broadcasting license, which was due to expire on Sunday. This afternoon, Minister for Communications Ayasaid Kayum confirmed Fiji TV's application for a 6-month extension has been granted. He said Fiji TV Chairman Padam Lala asked for the extension since the company is undergoing a restructure which should be completed in the next few weeks. In its request for an extension, the company had said at this stage of their restructure they would be content with the maximum 6-month extension. The Fiji National Provident Fund will pay out $158 million to members after declaring interest of 5.5%. The payout has been attributed to ongoing reforms within the FNPF. Vasita Kotewasawasa reports.
The payout is for the year ending 30th June 2013. Executives say refocusing of key investments under a challenging economic environment has come a long way.
This rate would see the distributions of $158.5 million to our members' account, and this will be credited to their accounts on Sunday night. Last year, the fund declared a 5% interest, resulting in a payout of $132 million.
About 277,000 active members will benefit from this payout based on the balance in their FNPF account. Isake Taito says they are determined to make members' contributions continue to grow.
We would like to assure our stakeholders that the improvements to our business processes are still ongoing and should see better services to our members in the near future. Our investments rehabilitations program is on target, and we will continue to secure investment opportunities that will grow our members' funds.
The board has retained the special death benefits for 2014 at $8,500 with a premium of $35 to be deducted from members' accounts starting from July 1st. Vasita Kotewasawasa, FBC News.
Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama is to meet his Russian counterpart Dmitry Medvedev in Moscow today, where it's currently morning. Both leaders will discuss ways to strengthen relations between the two countries. Bainimarama arrived in Moscow early today for a state visit to the Russian Federation. He is leading the first government delegation to the Russian capital, designed to boost trade and investment opportunities. He was received by the non-resident ambassador for the Russian Federation to Fiji, Vladimir Morozov, and senior government officials that overlook Asia-Pacific affairs. Bainimarama is accompanied by Defense Minister Choketani Dokanasinga, Sports Minister Viliamena Poto, and other government officials. For more than 20 years, the Western Division has topped the list of road fatalities in the country. As Mikolonga finds out, poor road marking and design are a contributing factor not only in the West but across the nation as a whole.
The majority of fatal accidents occur along the Queen's Highway from Singatoka to Mba. According to police figures revealed at a recent LTA workshop, 40% of the road deaths every year are from the Western Division.
When you look into the geographical spread out of the West, we can see why most of these accidents are happening down in the West. Because when you talk about policing on the road, when you talk about the road itself, or the terrain, long stretch of the road, and all sorts of the road design itself.
While speeding, drunk and careless driving and defective vehicles are also known causes of accidents, poor road marking often add to needless deaths.
Whether these signs and whether these markings are perfect. There are some areas where we've been receiving complaints about these markings or signages that are not good enough, not powerful enough to be relating the kind of information, the safety information that you need to communicate to drivers on the road. So that is something that we are looking at this stage.
Talks on issues like these are ongoing between the LTA and the Fiji Roads Authority. Mikalonga, FBC News.
Coming up, research shows that our reefs are quite healthy.
I wake up in the morning, I prefer to go down to the gym, get a bit of physical work done. Also, later on in the day, I decide to go through for meditation. I do a bit of reading to find out what the latest songs are, a bit of research. And for me, it's all about the listeners. Hey, what's up? I'm Rio, and this is the Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 o'clock to 7, only on Today FM. Today is hit music. What's up?
Nisa mula binaka, oya wane kamanalangi, oni nandorungo diao, may nadiwa kinarua na bisinga, may namoniti kinabagarumbu, kay na Radio Fiji 1 nandomay biti bongani biyanyano. Nama katalangana bengon sa Sibiani na tinakaloka na bimbongi ni Bukilulu, kay na bima maniwalo na bimbongi ni Bakarawai, may nambuza ni Balo, ningay namaka.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. We as a society are responsible for killing our own languages. This was discussed at the two-day Faculty of Arts, Law and Education Community Engagement Series at the University of the South Pacific. As Apisalome Dhokar reports, the two major languages in Fiji, Itaukei and Hindi, have borrowed heavily from each other and from the English language.
The symposium, named Kaise Bart Reloaded, talked a lot about language borrowing.
Nangyo is a Fijian word or Hindi word? As far as she was concerned, Nangyo was a Hindi word, which meant shark. It's Nangyo.
Why do Fijians actually call it bull Macau? Why not bull and cow? Because these are introduced animals into Fiji.
There's a suggestion to adopt Fiji Hindi in all forms of communication as it's more conversational and easier to understand than formal Hindi.
I think in a way, as far as Hindi is concerned in Fiji, we've led a bit of a schizophrenic or had a schizophrenic approach to it. Because we'll all talk in Fiji Hindi, but as soon as you have to stand up and speak at a wedding or go on radio or somebody interviews you on television, suddenly everybody believes they need to speak Shuddh Hindi.
So you can see what the difficulties would have been. Coming from different dialects from India, coming over here and then realizing that you didn't have a common language. So how do you actually get a common language? You start to mix things together and you come up with a new language. And that's what happened with Fiji Hindi.
The acting Prime Minister says the media has an important role to play in encouraging the use of Fiji Hindi.
It is our responsibility to ensure that radio announcers also get on the same page. And when I listen to the news, I really don't understand Hindi news. I really don't. Because I think just a direct translation, they pick up the dictionary, they look at the word subterfuge, and they check what's the meaning of it in Sanskrit or Hindustani, and they just translate it directly. So they're not conscious of who their listeners are.
Calls have also been made to introduce Fiji Hindi into our school curriculum.
So it will be very good if Fiji Hindi will be introduced in the school. It will be very good for everybody in Fiji, I believe.
Yes, Fiji Hindi should be taught in schools because well, we are Fijians, but at the same time we are Indians as well. So as much as Fijian is taught, Hindi should be taught as well.
Fiji currently has no specific policy on Fiji Hindi. Apisolome Dhokar, FBC News.
The people of Fiji and the Pacific still need to be made aware of the difficulties faced by those with HIV and AIDS. Treatment is My Life Now is a book of testimonies from individuals around the Pacific living with HIV and AIDS that was launched in Suva last night.
The book looks at how people and NGOs have tried to end the fear and stigma associated with HIV and AIDS.
It has also allowed us to know and understand people living with HIV much better. Knowing who we are, it has also increased our confidence and to enable us to gain real-life experiences of research.
People telling their personal life stories in the book tell of how there is a lack of knowledge in the Pacific about HIV and AIDS.
Others are still facing challenges in getting better treatment, and they have all faced discrimination at one point in their life. The book also highlights that there is lack of counselors for HIV positives in countries like Fiji, Guam, Kiribati, Samoa and Solomon Islands.
Some have even had to deal with unhelpful medical professionals.
But this experience as peer researcher has really encouraged me to do more of my fellow positive brothers and sisters, having the opportunity to understand and hear their respective experience. It has challenged me to keep advocating.
The book was launched to mark World Testing Day yesterday. Shahin Lata, FBC News.
Fiji's coral reefs are generally healthy, but more can be done to protect them. That's the finding of the Living Oceans Foundation, which has completed a 28-day expedition of the Lau Group. They'll be recommending future measures for local authorities. Christopher Chand reports.
This is what Fiji's underwater world looks like. Pretty healthy, according to the experts.
The reefs are in fairly good shape. There, like I said earlier, there are some places that have been damaged in the past by crown of thorns, by storm damage, other things, but every place that we saw where there has been damage, it's recovering. A number of the places we went look like they've been very stable and they haven't changed at all.
The group's visit is part of their global expedition, underwater research around 11 islands in the Lau Group. The study has revealed that there may be overfishing, which allows other organisms to harm our coral.
I do think that there needs to be some more work done on some of the problems associated with fishing, because I think that the one thing we did notice was that a lot of the top predators, some of the herbivores, were much lower in abundance than we expected. And those are really, really critical to the health of the reefs.
Scientists have discovered a more diverse range of coral and fish in Fiji than any other Pacific nation. This indicates that our reefs are resilient.
The reason we do this work, we are a public benefit foundation, and we are trying to do this to provide both information and tools that local resource management agencies in each country we go to can use to help conserve their coral reefs.
This is the first time such an extensive study has been carried out on our reefs. The onus is on us to help protect them for future generations. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
AusAid's $50 million Access to Quality Education program enters its third year in August, and stakeholders met in Suva today to look at past successes and future plans. The program works with Fiji's 108 poorer schools, providing access to quality education and proper infrastructure. Ritika Pratap reports.
After a successful 3 years, these stakeholders are now making plans for the next 3 years. Ways to help children from poor communities get access to quality education. These reps from Education Ministry, NGOs and faith-based organizations were today given the list of schools that will be supported during the second phase of the program.
The renovation work under the component 2, which is the infrastructure component. We have also a hygiene program, which will be working with the FTA to roll out hygiene awareness for teacher training, but also within the schools to help the children wash their hands and basic hygiene principles.
This program doesn't just give cash handouts, but also trains teachers and school managements to maintain the same standards. Stancom says they are hopeful that the Ministry of Education will continue with their efforts to improve education quality in rural and maritime areas.
A large part of this program is that we're working so closely with the Ministry of Education that a lot of these activities will get taken up by the ministry. So we're very hopeful that some of the principles that we're rolling out will carry on after the program's finished.
Opening the meeting this morning, Education Ministry Permanent Secretary Dr. Brishla says this partnership is crucial in steering education into a new direction.
The Ministry of Education is looking forward to working with all of you in establishing mutual agreed frameworks that will provide a reliable assessment of performance, transparency and accountability.
ACAP in the last 2 years has helped set up school blocks, improved access to education and the level of education in impoverished schools. It's also undertaken water supply and sanitation projects. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Sports time now, and with the nation counting down to the kickoff, Jamie brings us an update from Moscow.
Pinaka Jackie, yes, up ahead in sports, our run-on side against Tonga has been named and we're given a clear message from our Prime Minister. Find out more after the break.
Bola, oya wasala bilawa. Do pata ke au mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina vagaromboka. Kako ni valatana no musini sari na kai samarian dolo loma leone vani ni nau omgori ke de mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina vagaromboka na Bula FM number 2 en sere.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on Ghar Sansar, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. First up tonight, Fiji couldn't have asked for more support in Moscow as the clock ticks down to the start of the World Cup. Upon arrival, the men had former rep Tomasi Dama Sr. whipping them into shape. Another huge morale boost came when Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama presented them with their jerseys. Elena McDonald reports.
The message while competing in the Rugby World Cup couldn't be any clearer from the Prime Minister. Maintain the name of Fiji and rugby and do it for all Fijians. With 2 full days of competition ahead, even the weather is working in Fiji's favour.
If you're speaking of the weather, it's fine and sunny. It will suit us. Training circumstances were in 34 to 37 degrees yesterday in the afternoon rather than in the morning, and it cools off at night. If you're talking about the attitude in terms of atmosphere, Fiji have made a name for themselves already. People are talking about Fiji, and I'm sure when I was talking to Titchens, he indicated that Fiji would be a threat to their endeavours.
For the first match against Tonga, coach Oliver Tinderes named Waisea Nayadhalevu, Levani Mbotia and Leone Nakarawa. Chochi Rangamate is at halfback to link with fellow backs Metuisela Talimbula, Veroniki Ngoneva and Samisoni Veriviri.
Much will depend upon the timing of substitutes in the course of the day, and I've actually suggested to Tom Varma that he might observe what happens and what is the need and when is the need to put substitutes onto the field.
It's now or never for Fiji as day 1 in Moscow approaches. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
While our 2 Fiji sides get ready for their first hurdle at the Rugby World Cup Sevens, fans at home are quite optimistic about our chances. FBC Sports spoke to some, and here's what they had to say.
100% sure they'll win Melrose Cup.
Definitely Fiji will win this game. I think they'll bring the cup back. For sure, this lineup is best lineup that I've ever seen.
I think they stand a very good chance of winning the Sevens.
Thanks for the coach that he will support our Fiji teams and we'll also support our Fiji teams then.
Well, I hope they win. Everybody hopes he comes back with the trophy. Fiji will win today.
Meanwhile, men's defending champions, the Rebels, breezed through pool games of the Maris Volleyball Tournament. Teams were out to stamp their mark, gunning not only for the eliminations later today, but also for the $3,000 prize money on offer at the FMF gym in Lauvala Bay, Suva. Tsalendau Vakavaka reports.
Day 1 was pretty full on.
Teams came from far and wide to test their mettle against top local and regional clubs. Rebels from Railway looked on top of their game, but will have tough competition from Marist and Dakau, who are gunning for the title.
We're waiting for elimination at the moment. So I can say today that we are ready to take any teams that will come through the elimination and quarterfinal, come the semi-final, and of course the final.
For those who've been coming to the Marist tournament for the last few years, the competition is getting tougher every year.
Yes, it's good exposure for the teams, especially Wallis and Fortuna and New Caledonia. And we hope to learn much more from them since this is a national sport. And we're here to learn from them and take into account what we have learned.
And we have teams from the Western Division and the Northern Division also. So we can say today's tournament is getting bigger each year. Maybe I think next year they'll bring teams from New Zealand and Australia.
The eliminations are underway right now as teams fight for places in the quarterfinals tomorrow. None of these teams will be backing down, especially those that have sacrificed much to get this far. Talendo Vakavaka, FBC Sports.
The Fanka Muslim tournament is in its second day at Prince Charles Park in Nandi. Teams from Muslim communities in Australia, New Zealand, Canada and USA are participating in the four-day tournament. The meet provides for excellent football with current and former national reps involved and also features locally based Nigerian players. The Fanka tournament was opened by US Ambassador Frankie Reed, who says the US is looking to help the region with sports.
Students, exchanges. We can do the same with soccer. So we'll work with you next year on this program, our public affairs office. And I think the coaches from the U.S. said that they got as much out of it, if not more, than the kids. They really, really like these types of events.
The highly contested tournament ends on Sunday. That was your sports for tonight, and I'm sure many of you, like me, are preparing the rations to make it to Fiji's first game. Enjoy the evening, and in case you've forgotten the chant, it's Go Fiji Go.
Business community should partner with organizations that help vulnerable members of the community. Fiji Red Cross Chief Executive Felipe Nainoda said this while receiving a check of $100,000 from the Vinod Patel Foundation. The money will be used to refurbish the Red Cross building in Ba. Nainoda says this donation will help them better serve the public when it comes to emergencies and natural disasters.
I believe as inspiration to both business and organizations such as Fiji Red Cross is how we can partner together to reach the most vulnerable.
Well, the time now, and Jen, I must say that our FBC Mini Olympics was a huge success.
Yes, Jackie, it was the perfect day for us to get out of the office. And not only did Suva have it good, but the other major centers as well. It was fine weather throughout the day with just some rain and clouds here and there. Aside from Savo, it appears that temperatures were all in the 30s. 32 in Lambasa was the highest, with the Hidden Paradise coming in at 29 degrees. Definitely much warmer than yesterday's 26. Now for the big question, what's in store for us this weekend? Well, the forecast is showers throughout the country, but I have a hunch it's going to be sunny, so keep those fingers crossed. From the interior of Viti Levu to the skies of Viti Levu, literally. Tyrone Chang from Nandi gives us a superb aerial view of the mainland. Awesome stuff, Tyrone. We appreciate the great photography. And that's the last photo of the week. Take a last look. Until the next one, stay safe and stay smiling.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And recapping the headlines, police are investigating a possible murder-suicide after two bodies were found in a flat in Vatuanga Suva this morning. FNPF announces $158 million in interest payments to members and renewed push for Fiji Hindi to be accepted and widely used in Fiji. To the poll question now. Does Fiji Sevens have the right combination for the Rugby World Cup? To take part, visit www.fbc.com.fj. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. Before we leave, best of luck to our Fiji Sevens men's and women's team at the World Cup. I'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है। 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली रेनू। सुनते रहिए मिर्च एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।